Don't act like you're frozen. Stop. Today is not the
I
day.
was I was seeing if you catch on to it. Hey, hi there.
Hi.
Welcome.
Like my gen.
This. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I
We
thought I
always
was in.
like chit chat a little bit and
Okay,
then
okay.
introduce.
Sorry, I missed the cue
Keep
card.
effing this up. This
Yes,
is
I love your
episode
hair.
35, by the way.
I love your hair. This is
Jim
episode
Hair.
35.
Jim
It's
Hair don't
the
care.
it's the smooth and silky locks episode.
It's not smooth and silky, but
Well,
it's
listen, they don't know
unfiltered
that.
for sure. Well, they do now.
This podcast doesn't have smell-o-vision.
A good thing.
Speaking of, this is the Life Unfiltered podcast show. I'm Justin DeWeese. That's my beautiful, mane flowing, gym crushing, female inspiring wife, Ashley DeWeese.
I do appreciate the intro. However, it does not negate the fact that I'm just I'm over the podcast show thing. I'm clearly
And
not over it because I'm saying it, but like I don't like it
and
when you
I'm
say
over giving a
podcast
shit whether how
show.
you feel about it.
Okay.
How about that? How you doing, beautiful?
I'm tired. Well, I don't even know if I'm tired today. I just feel ugh. Like that's how that's the only way I can describe it. My lower back hurts a little bit. I need to find a spark today. I will find it. But like I just
I'd like to say I blew that thing out, but I didn't.
oh my
This
God.
one's not my fault.
Not this morning.
So, um, but I'm glad that you said that you're feeling right because when you create content and podcasts and whatnot with the aim of inspiring and guiding and coaching people, like often it can be or it can feel like or it can come across as like man everything is just golden and it's on the up and up and all the problems have solutions and et cetera, right? And so I think it's good to talk about the fact that you're a little meh, because no matter what you are doing, no matter what you are working on in your life, the reality is that life is cyclical. No matter what, there's going to be ups and downs. And I think that where a lot of people trip themselves up is they end up thinking, like, oh, hey, I'm eating right. I'm going to the gym. Just super easy example.
Mm.
Everything should be progressing in the direction I want it to towards my goal. My weights should be getting heavier in the gym. I should be feeling better every single day. My weight should be trending in the direction I want it to go, whether that's be losing weight or putting on healthy muscle, whatnot. Everything should just be the way I want it to be going. But the reality is, there's going to be days where you show up at the gym and you feel weak like a toddler. And like, I used to lit like last week, we went to the gym and it was leg day for me. And I got on the calf machine, the standing calf raise machine, same weight I had been doing, and it felt like I'd never done a calf raise
Yeah.
in my life. Like I couldn't believe it.
Right.
But
Right.
that's just how it goes. Like that's the journey is ups and downs. It's never one or the other.
Well, that's life. And there's so much like to unpack here in different directions to go. Like I even find myself like just I don't know, emotional at the moment. I don't even know why.
I saw
uh
that coming on. I could see it in your eyes because you know why? I'm in tune with you.
um yeah, first of all, as far as, going back to some of the things that you said, like I have been living life on social media and creating content for what, 12 years now
Yeah,
ish, 2015 ish. So, or no, that's not 12 years,
that's
right?
9.
I don't
But
know. I can't do the math.
yeah, I mean, it'd be roughly 12 years when you started trying to do the teacher blog and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. And so, that's a long time. And
Yeah,
I guess I haven't posted every single day in that almost 12-year period, but darn near, right?
yeah.
Darn
Oh
near.
yeah, for sure.
Um, and so when you think about that, like that's a lot. I swear to goodness, like I almost got a Kleenex because every single flipping podcast, like my nose runs. It's
It's sort of our thing, right? Like we have Big Nugs and we have Ashley's runny nose. Who
uh
knows?
no, but it's a really long time. And I think that uh yeah, all of it can just be a bit taxing, especially like you were saying, like, I don't know, authenticity is the buzzword right now,
Sure,
like all the rage, right? Like that's the be authentic. That's what people want. Be real, be raw. And first and foremost, like I've been attempting to do that since day one. I've been
right.
attempting to be authentic like before it was popular or before it was like the marketing scheme. Um, but it's challenging because there's a balance between like being real and raw and honest, but then also, protecting some of your own space, things,
Sure.
life. But it is challenging. It is challenging to know that you're here to help others and lift them up and help them with the right path and things that you've learned to take them in the right direction. But it then is challenging on the days that are struggles for you. And it's not that I don't ever want to share those struggles. So for me, it's not about, oh gosh, like what if I went online and said, like, wow, I had an emotional day today or a rough day, because I do that. I do go online and say that. But sometimes, I don't know, it's just challenging. And no matter how long you have been on the journey, whether it's a business journey, a health journey, relationship journey, etc., like there are different ebbs and flows to it. Like you go through different, in the words of Taylor Swift, um, eras. And not even, I mean, you go through eras, you go through like various periods within an era. It's just to be expected. And I think that's where, as you were alluding to, people often set themselves up for disappointment, is the expectations they create for the journey, whether it be it's all going to be smooth sailing, or once you get past a certain point, there's not going to be any significant bumps in the road, or there is a place that you get to where everything just comes together forever.
Right.
Um, and the reality is that's not the case. And on top of that, whatever whatever goal you're pursuing for yourself right now, or maybe multiple goals at once, I think I think for me, what hits, and probably I don't share enough of because it's a slippery slope when you start involving the other players in your life. But like, aside from whatever goal or goals you're pursuing right now, there's also all of the other aspects of your life, right?
Right.
So, me going to the gym and pursuing my personal bests there, or working on the recomposition of my body, for example, or working to grow my transformation intensive or my women's community. Like all of those things are things that I am talking about and working on and always looking at how I can become a better coach and, a better business owner and just a better me. At the same time, working to be the best mom I can be and the best wife and the best daughter who's caretaking for her mother and just everything else that goes along with being a human on this planet. Um, and so at times, I think that's where like there's a suspension of reality, maybe from or can be from the outside looking in. And then there's the struggle with self of like, it just can all get it all at times can like feel like you're carrying like the weight of everything. It's not just this isolated thing. That's why, and our current coach says this here and there, but like a person who is like, not that it's not challenging for them in their own ways, but like a person who is single, doesn't have any children, maybe earlier on in life, them crushing it with their fitness and health goals or business goals, it's a little bit less impressive, still impressive, but a little bit less impressive than someone who is married, has kids, has maybe additional caretaking responsibilities or life responsibilities, et cetera, because it's not just the one thing.
Right. Well, it's like, hey, I can throw a chainsaw up in the air and I can catch it. Cool. That is impressive because if I tried to do that myself, I would lose parts of my body. Right. But throwing one chainsaw up in the air and catching it will never be as impressive as juggling three chainsaws.
Right. Right.
Doesn't mean the one isn't difficult. It for sure is. But as you add those layers of complexity in, yeah, it's a whole different animal.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I don't know where we want to completely go with this, but if you're looking at the just from a wellness perspective, if you're pursuing health and fitness goals, the people who are most successful in living a healthy lifestyle and accomplishing the physique goals that they want for themselves are people who have the ability to utilize their toolkit, as I call
Sure.
it. With my clients, I'm always referencing their toolkit, like with everything they learn, with everything that I'm coaching them with, like we're just adding to their toolkit. Um, because in those times in life where it is bumpy, it is extra challenging. Have you put in the work? Have you collected the tools to help you in that particular instance or season, right? Do you have the ability to identify a strategy that would help you deal with a struggling mindset? Or do you have a tool in your toolkit that can help you maybe take a different approach or make a pivot with your nutrition where maybe you're feeling stuck? Do you have a community to lean on for support when you are feeling like you need some encouragement or uplifting? Uh, do you have someone or people in your life, a coach, a mentor, a significant other that you can turn to and ask for accountability or that you can express yourself to with what you're feeling or what you're thinking and what you're struggling with? Um, People who are most successful with their fitness and health journey are people who are masters of being able to dig into that toolkit and like it's some days it's like this like some days it's like this. Okay, I have all this stuff in here, like what is it that I can pull out in this scenario to help me, and maybe I need to try several different things. But it's my point is it's not that they are just these unicorns or have completely hacked the mother load. It's just that they've gotten really good at a few things. Like they've gotten really good at not quitting when times are challenging. They've gotten really good at being self-aware and self-aware enough to recognize, hey, I need to take a pause and address whatever this is that I'm facing. And three, having the ability to get inside of that toolkit and pull out tools to help them move through whatever it is they might be facing. That wasn't like a very like fancy way of putting all that together, but
Well, listen, that was the most Ashley way of putting all those things together.
that absolutely.
I mean, if people wanted a little snippet into my daily life and conversation with my wife, you're welcome because now you know. I got to take all these convoluted dots and connect them and be like, okay. I get it.
I mean, to my own like tooting of my own horn, I think the thing is I God did not bless me with the gift of organization, especially when it comes to my thoughts,
So we'll say verbal organization.
I guess. I guess my point is there is a lot of gold up here and here for that matter, because what's in here comes up here and then comes out my mouth. There's a lot of gold inside of this. And unfortunately or fortunately, I wasn't gifted with putting it out there in any sort of like beautifully packaged way. It just comes out and you either catch the gold or you don't, but
I
it's
mean,
there.
sometimes you got to do a little refining, you know? I get it. I get it. So let me ask you this. If I'm one of our beautiful Lupsters out there listening to this, and I'm like, oh, I I'm picking up what she's putting down on the toolkit thing.
Seriously, I'm gonna be gross right now, but I can't take it anymore.
I'm speechless right now.
Why?
I, you know,
I'll do it again. I could use another one, but
all I'm saying is, for sure, don't let your son watch this episode because he will lose his mind over how
sometimes you
you lose
gotta.
your mind when he does the
Okay,
exact same thing that you just did.
there's a difference though when you're sitting at the dinner table and you can get your butt up and walk a foot to get a Kleenex versus there's
You could get your
literally.
butt up and walk 10 feet to the bathroom and get a Kleenex. Could you not?
I think it's further
I'm
than
just
10
saying.
feet and
I'm
we're
just saying.
recording and anyways.
Oh,
So
okay. Anyway,
if there's someone listening that's
if
picking
we
up what
can,
I'm putting
yeah, I'm
down,
getting back there. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, toolkit. I get that. How does one go about equipping or building out their toolkit? Like if I'm listening to this and I'm looking at my toolkit and going, well, shit, all I got is a hammer, so I just beat the crap out of everything. How does one go about growing what's available in that toolkit?
well, I think there's some general ways to do it. There's also some specificity that ultimately has to come in. Um, from a specific standpoint, one of the greatest questions that I've ever been told to utilize is, where are you sucking right now? Right? Like truly identifying like what am I sucking at right now? Cuz sometimes, general tools are helpful.
Sure.
Um but yet at other times we need more specific tools. So, one, just asking yourself like, where am I sucking right now? Um and then from there looking for things that can help you specifically with that area. But in general, and we can, at the risk of sounding redundant, but we need to hear things over and over again often before they click. But generally speaking, if you want to expand your toolkit to be able to better navigate situations in your life, firstly, as we are always talking about, reading for personal growth, reading and listening to podcasts, reading personal development books, and not just personal development books in the sense of like mindset, but just better understanding of how your mind works, better understanding of like finances, marriage. I think sometimes,
Communication.
right, like, and maybe it's just me, but the phrase personal development, it should imply everything, right? Anything
Right.
that impacts you, that you learn and grow with, like that's personal development. However, because we are kind of in an era of time where self growth by way of mindset, right? And better health is predominant. A lot of times I think people equate personal development with more like simply mindset type stuff.
Right.
And all
I'd
I'm
agree with
saying
that.
is it's it's more than that. It's all of the aspects of life. But so reading, listening to podcasts to help you grow, learn, and understand more about the way you think, about the way that you behave, about the way successful people think and behave, about all of those kinds of things. Those are always that is like a way for you to every single day be adding to your toolkit. Every single day, you can add to your toolkit by listening to podcasts and reading books because it helps you gain more knowledge and awareness. Second to that would be really second and third in like whatever order you want to put it in. But it is like linking up with a community of like-minded people, and not like-minded in the sense that like everybody in the community is the exact same, but like-minded in the sense that they share similar values and they share the desire to grow and move in a direction of, you know, elevation in their life. You know, being around people who are also pursuing growth, whether it be just a general type of community or whether it be more specific communities or both, right? Because like I can be a part of like a general community where people are just all about personal growth. I can also be a part of a community where it's people who are specifically looking to become better with their financial behaviors. So, you know, take your pick, do a little bit of both, but being among people who share in that with you is one of the most powerful things that you can do, because it helps with your psyche and knowing that you're not alone. It also helps by way of having others to discuss with. You know, we've talked about this before, like just the ability to talk with other people who like understand, who get it, who maybe have been there, who are there, can completely help you at times break through or unlock your stuckness. Uh, Not to mention just to give you the support to keep it on. And then on top of that, you can grow your toolkit by exposing yourself to different mentors, whether you're hiring a mentor, whether you're seeking out like free online workshops or webinars to learn and grow from experts in fields. Um, those are just ways that I have. And when I say toolkit, it's not like I have like a literal box of tools, but it's like this
Right.
invisible toolkit of
It's a
resources that
metaphor.
I
I think
can.
we get it.
I was just
I'm
clarifying.
just, I
But
know.
there's so many things that I've collected over the years from, like I said, like from paid trainings, from free trainings, from
Sure.
mentors that I've hired, from masterminds that I've been a part of. But again, like connecting with people who can be on the journey with you, who understand what it is you're going through, who share similar values and viewpoints, and then having teachers, mentors, coaches, that is their specialty, is to be able to help you and support you in those ways. Like, again, same things that we're always saying, but just reminders that these are necessary. I can think of, obviously points in my life where the idea of having any sort of coach or being a part of a community, it was I probably kind of looked at it like, I don't know, I probably looked at it in a couple different ways. One, I know I used to look at like the whole idea of having a coach, like a life coach or performance coach. Like that was something that was more of like silly. Like I looked at it like that was
Sure.
silly, like excessive. Um, Also, there was a time where I looked at those kinds of things, being part of the communities, masterminds, hiring coaches. That was stuff that like uber successful or uber wealthy people did.
Sure.
And at the time, like I didn't connect with that, didn't relate with that. And it was more of like, well, that's not for me. That's not for people like me. And gosh, like, do I totally not believe that now? Like, if it were up to me, every flipping person on this planet would have at least one coach or mentor just around their health and fitness to start, and would be connected to an online community, in-person community, great too, but like an online community of people, um, to support them in that. Like those would be the two biggest things. Like if I could literally like make a wish and be like, hey, grant this for every single person on the planet, it would be to have everybody has a mentor or coach, and everybody has an online community that they can connect with other people in regard to personal growth. Hands down.
Sure. When
Game
I
changer.
think, as I was listening to you talk about reading and listening for your growth and linking up with the community and exposing yourself to different mentors and via webinars or courses or whatever, um, one of the things that I thought of was, and tell me if this is true for you as well, but often when I am in one of those realms, we'll just take reading for example. If I'm reading a book on uh, managing your team at work, for
Mm-hmm.
example, even though it's managing your team at work, I find ideas and concepts that resonate in other areas of my life.
Oh yeah.
So even though I'm specifically looking at that or uh, a book on maintaining a household budget, then it's like you see these other dots that you can connect to other areas. So even though you're aiming for one specific thing, it sprouts out.
Well, I think it's a product of, again, choosing to be on a never-ending path of personal growth. You begin to learn to look at everything with that lens,
Yeah,
right? Like I'm usually aware of it as it's happening, but I'm sure it also goes on a lot subconsciously. But literally everything I watch, everything I read, everything I listen to, every conversation that I'm a part of for the most part, I'm looking at it or listening to it through a lens of how does this apply in my life? I mean, and the most prominent, honestly, is, and sometimes I feel a little bit bad about it, but when we're in church and we're listening to our church sermons, of course, and that is about life, but like I'll be listening to the church sermons and definitely grasping the specific message or concept that's being delivered as it pertains to my spiritual growth. But at the same time, I'm also making additional notes in my
sure.
notebook at church of how I'm like, oh my gosh, like this applies to health, this applies to finances, this applies, I need to share this with my clients because, and so, yeah, like you're absolutely right. And that, like, even when you get specific on a certain topic, like there's still often application for everything.
Well, and the other thought I had was, and it ties into what you were just saying, these points that you gave for growing your toolkit, I think can be summed up in one big nug, and that is you have to open your toolkit in
Right.
order to put new things into it, right? So, like, you have to be open minded to expose to these different things and allow them in, and open minded enough to make those connections to application in your life and to maybe off topic concepts to what is being presented.
Well, first and foremost, you have to make a decision that you want to have a toolkit, period. Right. Like,
Well, no,
firstly,
I'd say we all have a toolkit, right? Because you grow up and you experience life a certain way, and your parents deal with stuff a certain way, and that's the toolkit you go out into the world with.
it's like here's the basic, here's the provided,
Right.
here's the provided box that
Right. I
everybody
mean,
get, or
if
that
if you took Mowgli, however you say
Mowgli.
his name from
I
Jungle
think it's
Book,
Mowgli. I say Mowgli.
right? And he grew up with a bunch of dang animals. He still has a human toolkit.
Hmm.
Like, he has, if you smack him in the face, he's got a response, right? So the
Sure.
toolkit is there. You are, can you focus?
I'm
Can you
trying.
stop wiping your nose on sleeves and spilling things places and engage in the conversation,
No, I
please?
would agree. You're right. We all
So I mean,
have a
you have the
sort of
toolkit,
toolkit.
right?
Are you
The
going to
the
open
decision,
it?
right? The decision is, are you going to open that toolkit and refine the tools that you have and add new tools?
Yeah.
Because again, going back to what I said way, way long ago, if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
Like, it's an old saying, but it's
I like
true.
that.
Well, because it's old and it's been around forever. So it's like, it's true down to the core of everybody, right? If all you
Mhm.
have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, because you're not gonna be able to screw the thing in the wall. You're just gonna have to beat the shit out of it until it goes in. So you got to be willing to open that toolkit and add a screwdriver to it so you can tackle screws, and on and on and
Well,
on and
and
on.
I would also say kind of in the other direction of, you also have to be willing to recognize that you do have a toolkit. Because I think
Well,
sometimes
sure.
there are those, and you'll find that those who travel through life with a sort of victim mentality or a losing mentality, often just want to ignore the fact that they do have an existing
Right.
toolkit.
Right. Nope. I
And I
completely agree
think
with that.
part of it too, like you have an existing toolkit, and yes, could you improve your tools? Could you have additional tools that would be beneficial? Absolutely, but let us not forget that you don't not have some tools to work with. And if you're taking the stance that you do not have the tools to work with, then by choice you are where you are because you're choosing not to even utilize what it is you've got. What's the phrase? Go with what you've got.
Sure. I mean, listen, you are as smart as you are pretty. You're a little bit messy, but you bring the heat. And so, if we can wrap up this circus today, number one, acknowledge that you have a toolkit. Number two, open the dang toolkit so you can expand it.
Mm.
And once you open it, you supply that toolkit through asking, where am I sucking right now? And if I can just pause right there, you're welcome for not going in an inappropriate
Oh,
direction when
I
you threw that
saw
out there.
I saw the wheels turning and the little smirk happening each
So,
time I said the word suck or sucking. I know you well, my bearded
so
beau.
that's the question. Number two, reading and listening for your personal growth. Number three, linking up with a community of like-minded or similarly directional people. And number four, exposing yourself to different mentors, ideally in a variety of ways, right?
Yeah.
In person, online, courses, webinars, all the things. If you can do all that, then you will expand your toolkit. And I think you'll find, just as my closing thought, if you expand your toolkit, and as you're expanding your toolkit, you will find that things become not necessarily easier, but you handle everything much better, right? And that's just that part of that maturing process.
Well, it's like, it's just dropped into my head, but it's like when you're sick, which for us is a rarity these days, but when you're sick or if you have an injury at home, it would be the difference between opening up the cabinets in your bathroom, which is where most people keep their stuff, their medical stuff or whatever. It would be the difference between opening up those cabinets and seeing them bare or like there's one thing
You
there.
just have Tylenol. That's
Right.
all you got.
And yet you have a gaping wound on your leg that
Right.
blood is going everywhere and it hurts like a mother and whatever, versus opening up those drawers and cabinets and it being full of all different kinds of things that you could
Right. All the
potentially
things that you
use and
might need.
help you,
Sure.
right? In that scenario where it's basically a desert of resources, that brings an overwhelming feeling of I'm fucked versus opening up that cabinet and drawers and seeing all of these different things that could also be overwhelming, but it will bring a some sort of sense of a little bit of relief, a little bit of certainty and confidence that
Sure.
like, hey, I may be in the shit right now and I don't like that, but I at least know that something somewhere in here can
Right.
help me with this,
Right.
as opposed to there being nothing there. And then it's like, holy shit, I don't know what to do. I don't even have anything. I don't even have anything close to me that can even help me to do anything with the situation. And that also goes for people, right? And not to drag this out, but that also goes for people because, there have been times in my life where it truly felt more like there was a very, very small amount of people backing me versus times of struggle in my life where just the fact that I knew I had these connections or groups of people via like our church life group or via our online community, like in those moments that were extremely hard moments, just knowing that I had those people, they didn't even have to do a damn thing, but knowing they were there, it just completely changes how you feel in a situation and your confidence in being able to move through it. So again, whether it's people, whether it is tangible items, mind strategies, whatever, all of that stuff is what we're talking about when we talk about your toolkit. And I guess the bottom line of what I'm saying is that when your toolkit is just overflowing, when you find yourself in the thick of it, or even in like little whatever, in great times too, you're just going to be able to walk through those challenges and seasons and good times and not so good times of life a lot clearer and more confident with an overflowing toolkit as opposed to without one. There you
Boom.
go.
Wrapped. Bow on it.
Oh, we try, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We do. Well, gang, I hope that you found some value out of this. And if you did, you know what I'm going to say because I'm the one that says it every week. Like, comment, share this puppy. Send it to your loved ones. Send it to strangers. I don't
Yeah,
care. Get it out there because people need to hear this stuff from a variety of sources. We're not the only uh, fountain of knowledge out there, but we are one, and we're one that you're listening to. So you might as well share it with other people.
for sure. This is episode 35, by the way. I'm proud of us.
35.
Virtual high five.
Virtual
I'll
high
give you a real
five.
one when I get upstairs.
I'll
But
high
yeah,
five
virtual
your
high five.
face later. Wait, what?
But no, I'm proud of us for showing up in every single week, 35
Hey,
episodes,
man,
no matter what,
this
because
is,
there's certainly been some weeks where we've been wanted to be like, let's not.
you know,
We did it anyway.
that's right. Listen, I'm here to land $100 million contract like the Kelsey boys did. So,
No kidding. No kidding. All
we're in
right. We
it to
love you
win it.
guys. We encourage you to go out there and grow this week. Put at least one thing from this episode into action in your life because it's not just about collecting this knowledge, it's about putting that knowledge into play in your life. So
And
we
when you
love
do,
you.
comment or message us and tell us that you did
Yeah, all the things.
all the things. Bye.
See ya.
Love you.